Test. Okay. Good evening. Thank you all for coming out tonight to our Calexico City Council candidates forum. I am the treasurer of the Calexico Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of the Calexico Chamber Board of Directors, would like to welcome you all. Would like to thank the candidates for coming out and participating in tonight's political forum. So tonight we did hear there were a couple of people that did indicate they would not be able to make it this evening. I just received a letter from Mr. Castro excusing himself, but thanking the Chamber of Commerce for the invitation. I spoke with Mr. Ortega yesterday, and he had a family emergency and was unfortunately was called away to San Diego and would not be able to make it. And Mr. Hermosillo and Mr. Usan let our executive director know previously they would not be able to make it. And so we do have our two candidates here. So again, the forum tonight is fairly simple, and we'll allow each candidate 3 minutes to be able to introduce themselves at the beginning. Then we will move into the questions, and we have tonight for moderating, we have Mr. Francisco Marquez, the director of the County Workforce Development Office, and he's actually a resident of La Quinta, can't vote here in Calexico. We have Ms. Mercedes Wheeler, and of course, most of you know her, but of course she is a resident of Brawley, and I will be handling some of the timing and things like that, and I'm a resident of El Centro, so none of us can vote here. But certainly, we hope you get informed this evening and be able to see and learn a little bit more about the candidates and learn a little bit more about the positions here. And so, yes, please turn your cell phones off. Oh good, see the mad rush. And so candidates, I will be timing. Yellow means you have 30 seconds, and then red will mean stop, but it will also make a noise. And so 3 minutes for the beginning. We'll start alphabetically with Mr. Moreno.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Moreno, and I'm running for re-election for Calexico City Council. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for putting on this great event for the City of Calexico so that the constituency can meet their candidates and find out who's running. I'm a lifelong resident of Calexico. My family's been in the city pretty close to 90 years. We are pioneers of the City of Calexico. We're very proud of that. I graduated Calexico High School in 1978. I attended IVC. Graduated at IVC, graduated San Diego State in 1985 with a degree in education. I continued my education in 1997 with a master's degree in educational leadership. I've been involved in the school system for 25 years as a teacher, as an administrator, vice principal. I've also worked in the family business, Calexico Super Shopping Market on the corner of 2nd and Heber for all your grocery needs. I'm no longer there. But that is where I honed a lot of my skills, people skills, learning how to deal with day-to-day operations of a business, and learning how to solve problems. I look for re-election because I think I have a lot to offer the City of Calexico. I've had experience in the Planning Commission for 10 years, learning about land use, learning about development. And these 4 years on the City Council have really been a learning curve for me after the Planning Commission, and I think that I can continue representing the community in a positive way as we go into the next 4 years of the City of Calexico. We've got major developments on the horizon. We've had some very difficult times where we've had to make some difficult choices with regard to our budget, but hopefully those will take a turn for the better. And I hope that you will support me November 6th on 2012. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening everybody. My name is Daniel Romero. As Mr. Moreno here mentioned, my family is also a pioneer in the City of Calexico. My father, Alexander Romero, was born in Calexico in 1929. We did spend a few years away, but since I was 6 years old, I've been in the City of Calexico and graduated through the Calexico High School. So unlike others, like Moreno, including Moreno, I'm a bulldog at heart. For myself, I had some education after high school, but more than anything else, I got involved in the family business about 2 or 3 years afterwards, and since then, I've been in this trade. One of the things that I have been involved in one capacity or another, is with the community, constantly involved with the community. One with the Pop Warner program here locally in Calexico from '93 to '96, and after that I was involved in the league level with '97 through 2002. President in Calexico and commissioner in charge of the league for not only for the Imperial Valley but also for Mexicali and Yuma. During that span, I was also involved with the Chamber of Commerce, serving as not only as one of the directors but also as one of the members of the executive committee, eventually becoming president of the Chamber of Commerce back in 2000, and then again in 2001. I was approached about maybe considering a third-year term, but before that happened, and especially during my first year, I checked in with the bylaw. The person that was appointed as a bylaw commissioner or chairman is to implement a bylaw within the code of the Chamber of Commerce for no one to run for more than 2 one-year consecutive terms. So in essence, I was termed out. I also served as chair of the Imperial Valley Joint Chambers of Commerce. And now with 2008, now involved in the community with the Calexico City Council. It's always been my privilege and my honor to help and serve the community in one capacity or another. And I expect that, and I know my chair, my vice chair may not agree with it, agree with this comment, but win or lose, I plan to continue to get involved regardless, one way or another. And I do hope that on November 6th, you'll also support yours truly, Daniel Romero, for the election, so we can continue to do the things that we've been doing the last 4 years and right the ship for the city of Calexico. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move into the question and answer period. We'll rotate between the two candidates, and also Mr. Marquez will be asking one question. The questions have been pre-written and determined by the Chamber Government Affairs Committee, and they've been pre-selected. They're in a bowl, and they will be drawn at random. And so we will start with Ms. Wheeler asking Mr. Romero a question.
Mr. Romero, public pensions are changing throughout the state as evidenced by voter-approved propositions in both San Diego and San Jose. Should the retirement structure change for city staff?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question itself?
Okay. Public pensions are changing throughout the state as evidenced by voter-approved propositions in both San Diego and San Jose. Should the retirement structure change for city staff?
We have to take into consideration for any budget, again, here for the city of Calexico anyway, the issue with the staffing of the personnel with their salaries and benefits. Currently they're consuming somewhere between 85 and 90% of the budget. When you think about a $10 million budget, you're looking at only $150,000 being involved, being permitted to be used. $1.5 million being used in other areas. So if you go double that, then there's only $3 million. A structure has to be done where it would be able to service a community in however it can, as responsible, in a very responsible and fiscal manner. As any employment, you wish to be able to give the employees what they wish and what they deserve, but we also have to take into consideration what is responsible and adjust accordingly as the times dictate, not necessarily vice versa.
Mr. Moreno. Throughout the years with the Calexico Redevelopment Agency, many public-private partnerships were executed to construct projects. Now with the demise of redevelopment, should the city explore new options for tax increment financing or other public-private partnerships? If so, what avenues should be pursued?
Thank you for asking that question. I think it's a very critical part of this time that public-private partnerships should be pursued. We've already seen the county of Imperial with one particular development that's happening. We know that the Calexico downtown port of entry is not going to have money appropriated by Congress, and therefore they have taken upon themselves to admit, if you will, or to give their blessing to the public-private partnership for the expansion on a leaseback type of development. And I think without redevelopment, we have to come up with creative ways of serving our community, covered with eliminating blight and kind of doing the same things that redevelopment was doing all along. And this is one avenue that I will continue to support if it comes before the dais at the City Hall during our council meetings, because I don't see any other way for us to get that port of entry expanded, because as you know, the wait times at the port of entry are placing a burden on the businesses in Calexico. People aren't wanting to cross. But this is something that needs to be addressed immediately, and we need to stop dragging our feet and move this thing forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Romero, as a council member, if elected, would you support an in-house city attorney or continue with the current contracted arrangement with the current firm? Would you propose anything else regarding the city attorney?
Since Mr. Moreno changed the House One Should Speak, I'm going to stand up myself. When I was elected in 2008, I was a proponent of having an in-house attorney, and a big proponent. After getting involved in the council for the first 4 years, I've had a change of mind and a change of heart. The issue with the city attorney, especially with the way politics is, if there's an in-house attorney, we're going to have situations where council members putting pressure on the attorney as an employee on how they should pursue certain issues. If there's a boundary line to go this way or that way, I believe that the pressure of their concern or their fear for their employment will come into play. By having an independent attorney as we have right now, and take into consideration that if we go in-house, there's no doubt the time will come when the attorney will also have to seek out attorneys specialized in different fields. Right now, with the city of Calexico having an attorney contracted out like we do, it's her whole firm is available to her needs and supporting her in every way we can, or every way they can. I think now I see that by having this type of structure, you'll have more of an independent version instead of one under pressure. Thank you.
Mr. Moreno, recently much has been said about the treatment of animals at the city animal shelter. As a member of the city council, what would you do to enhance the treatment animals receive at the shelter?
Well, I've been working closely with Ms. Diane Daniels, who's spearheading an awareness on the animal shelter. We don't longer call it a dog pound anymore, it's called an animal shelter. And I have met with her on several occasions to discuss the facilities, to discuss the treatment of the animals. And we've also met with the Humane Society just last week to talk about their role in this whole process. I will continue to support the animal shelter as a dog lover, as an animal lover. I think it's very important that we treat the strays or the animals and find homes for them. You can always talk about a government on how it treats its animals. If it treats them, good, then you should have a good government. But I know that they are working diligently now, and we're meeting on a regular basis to look for funds, to raise funds. In fact, there's a 5K, 2K walk for a Halloween type of event that the animal shelter people are putting on. And I think that the animal shelter right now, we've got a lot of volunteerism that is happening, and it's assisting them on the weekends. Our employees work during the week and they're off on, I think, on Sunday and Saturday and Sunday. But that is when the volunteers come in and they assist the animals with either bathing or walking or caring or just being there. So the animal shelter will continue to become better and better and try to allow itself to grow and develop into something that is, that we'll be proud of. So yes, the animal shelter is a big thing, and I've been working in a subcommittee with them, and I want to continue working with them to make it better. Thank you.
Mr. Romero, should Calexico pursue becoming a charter city?
That has been a question, a subject that was raised a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and information was shared as far as the benefit of one over the other. As time went by, at that time I was uncertain if it would be a better option. But as time goes on, I've looked back on that consideration. And I do believe, with everything considered, of all the pluses and minuses of the common law or versus a charter city, I think that the city of Calexico should seriously consider going towards a charter city. I think there are more benefits for the community, for city government, and everything and everyone involved that would likely benefit the community of the city of Calexico much more than under the common law. Thank you.
Mr. Moreno, cities throughout the state are faced with cuts in revenue. Many have responded by outsourcing many services. What services could or should the city outsource?
You're right, we've got some difficult times that we're facing. Sales tax revenues are down, property tax revenues are down, and a lot of cities throughout the state of California are facing insolvency. We need to look at ways to save the city money. These are lean times. Right now we're outsourcing waste management, and I believe we're outsourcing landscaping throughout the city. Right now our employees we need a strong employee group, and I think outsourcing kind of takes away from employee pride. When employees are working within the city, there's a sense of pride that they have on their jobs. And I've seen sometimes when outsourcing landscape, for example, that they really don't pay attention to detail. And this is from what I've seen and from what people have told me. If worse comes to worse and the city budget does not have the affordability to maintain employees, we have to do what's right for the 40,000 residents in the city of Calexico, and that means making tough decisions. If we have to outsource, so be it. I'm not a proponent of outsourcing. I'd rather keep the employees working that we have already with the city, but if the budget does not allow for certain services and the outsource is a cheaper way to go, then those are the tough decisions that we're going to have to make. But as for me, like I said, taking pride in your work is a very important part of your day-to-day activities as an employee with the city of Calexico. Thank you.
Mr. Romero, Calexico has the highest business license fees in Imperial County. Do you support the fee, or would you recommend lowering it?
One of the things in regards to the business license fee, and people need to remember this, is that the license fee structure, its formula, has been in existence since 1957. One of the things that has happened since then is that other user fees have been tagged on onto the business license fee. For one, as an example, is the inspection fee by the fire department. Now, the one thing about the fee about the fire department, and people need to remember, is that that is a service that needs to be reimbursed to the city, because you do have a fire marshal going out there to inspect the facility. And in that regard, it's a fee based on how to have a reasonable return for the inspection itself by that person. Now, is the business license fee itself, I believe it's fine where it's at. I think being that it's been in place since 1957, it speaks volumes on how low it's really been as far as on that area of concern. It is the other user fees that have been tacked on that appears to have increased the fee itself. But it isn't. It's just other user fees that is an extension of the service when they go out and do inspections to the business community. Thank you.
Mr. Moreno, the County of Imperial has recently approved a number of large solar projects to the west of Calexico. What can the council do to have Calexico benefit from these large investments into the region?
Solar panel farms on the west side of Calexico. What can the council do to benefit from this development? Was that the question again?
Yes. The County of Imperial has recently approved a number of large solar projects to the west of Calexico. What can the council do to have Calexico benefit from the large investments in the region?
I think we can put them in the city. That's what we need to do. We need to make industrial growth in the city to raise our revenues through those major developments. I don't know if we have the land for it, but I know Calexico covers, I think it's 7 square miles or something like that. But what we can do is be good neighbors, provide the infrastructure or work cooperatively with the county to make sure that these are successful. Perhaps look at ways of bringing other types of renewable energy into the city. There's wind, there's solar, there's biodiesel, there's a myriad amount of these renewable energies. And I think that if the county and the city get together, that maybe some of these can be placed within the city limits. I'm not sure what the LAFCO and all those other agencies would look at that and see the environmental impacts on that. But I think it's something that we should entertain. When I was elected 4 years ago, that was one of the things I wanted to see, but the county was doing a lot of that work already, and they already had the contacts and the companies that they were working with to bring that to the county. But as far as I'm concerned, look at ways to bring it in the city, if possible. If not, work cooperatively with the county to make sure that it's a smooth, it's a good working relationship. Thank you.
Mr. Romero, what can the City Council do to support the development of new downtown port of entry? Do you support a public-private partnership?
That was going to be a bad omen when you tore that slip. I have been involved with meetings along with the Mayor Pro Tem in regards to the downtown port of entry, its renovation. I've been going to meetings in San Diego, Tijuana, elsewhere. I am in favor of a public-private partnership, the 3 Ps. For the renovation of the downtown port of entry. Now, one thing is that I'll make it clear, I am much more in favor that the General Services Administration, the GSA, put these funds available for the renovation. But at the time, right now, with all the language that's being that's at Capitol Hill in trying to get this language approved, even though I may be more in favor for the GSA to come up with funding, if the legislators in Washington, D.C. can put this language together to make it work without an impact to the community, no tax increments, no toll, no nothing, then if it's the first avenue that the city of Calexico has, then let's get it done. And it should be sooner than later. Right now, if you're not familiar with it, you have Mexicali that's almost completed with their project, and they're trying to complete it before the change of government. And obviously on this side of the border, we're that far behind. And again, the sooner it happens, the better. Which method it is, it does not matter. Just let it happen to benefit the community in the region.